open-minded. I think that's wonderful. That's the way it should be, because rules are being broken down. It doesn't have to be the same old rules. It doesn't have to be a 12-bar. It doesn't have to be an introduction and a verse and a chorus and a verse and a solo and a verse and you're all done with. No, that's what's exciting about what music should be like today. Some of the thrash bands, I mean, some of the rhythm sections, some of the things they play are absolutely unbelievable. I mean, some of those things should be listened to by some real old musician guys, like jazz guys, and go, wow, where did that come from? Because it's really phenomenal. It's great playing. It's wonderful stuff. And I think when you put that all together, you know, we are embarking upon a very interesting time. But I think that a little bit of traditional rock of some of which we are the genre should, you know, certainly should remain. That's the only, you know, sad part for me. I think, you know, traditionalism is good in some ways. At least it's a basis for what's going on. Some of it is a little bit too over the top for me, so I don't know what's going to happen to it, though. I don't know where it's going to go. I really don't. If I knew that, you know, I'd predict the next earthquake. I really don't know. But it's an interesting time, and I'm glad that people are making music like that.
Also, I've noticed you've changed your topics as far as message, lyrics. How did that, you know, where did it come from and where's it going?
Well, because it's a world that, you know, it's not a very happy place. It's a world we live in that's just really depressing, very frustrated, very angry. Everyone seems to be shooting each other, or you know, it's the danger of the planet blowing up, and you know, in the ecology manner, we're certainly destroying this place. There's a war every time you turn around. I mean, no one can do anything about the Bosnia situation. I mean, I find that the most criminal of all things. We can go to Saudi Arabia. We can all hold our little flags high in Saudi Arabia, because we can kick the butts of some Iraqis who didn't stand a chance in the first place, for the sake of the people who own the oil in Saudi Arabia, and say, or Kuwait, and say, we gave you everything, aren't we wonderful? But yet we see people dying left and right in Yugoslavia. How can we let that happen? So it's a world that you know, has no job opportunities for young people, and probably won't for a long period of time. Drive-by shootings, all of the things that, you know, that I'm telling you, that, you know, are not things that you haven't seen or anyone in this world hasn't seen. And it couldn't allow me to talk about dreams and everything's going to be wonderful and the world will be happy. Just, you know, work hard and your dreams will come true. Shit. I look at the world around me now and I see that that's pretty impossible to happen. So I couldn't in my conscience write about dreams and happiness when I'm affected by the world around me, just as we all are in this band. We're very angry about it. So this is the topics on this album are topics that are very black and white, very true to life, things that hurt. So that's why this album is what it is.
So what would you say Dio is going towards from now on?
Going, where is it going? Well, God knows. I mean, that's a lot of that has to do with, you know, with its acceptance, really, and what we do, and how people view us to come. It'll go as far as people allow us to go. As far as we're concerned, we're one of the best bands on the planet, and that is the truth. I'm a pretty good judge of talent and character, and I think that this is one, certainly is the best band I've ever played in, and it's just a wonderful machine to be inside of. So if it were my prognostication, it would be this band is going to be around for a long, long time, and it's going to be doing this for another 10 years, and I certainly hope it will.
Okay, now we're going to trace your career.
Okay. Before we do that, could I turn that air conditioning off?
Sure, of course.
And actually, Mark, if you could scoot more over here so we can kind of just change the angle a little bit. And then if we're going to hold up some CD inserts, you want to
Is that the secret? Just knocking that thing? Do you want to go back there, Ben?
Yeah, I'm going to go back. So I got a little break.
Did you shut it?
I think so. I just hit a button. I don't know what the hell else is going on. Is it off?
Yeah.
So you guys almost done, or you?
No, we're almost done.
Just about.
Yeah.
So I'll give you each album and you
Okay.
just talk about it all
Sure.
you want,
All right.
whatever was important. You know.
Okay.
And when you're ready, you let me know.
Set up there? Okay.
We're good. So we got Elf, and in this album you appear under a different name also.
Well, my real name, actually, yeah. I did that for my folks. I thought maybe they'd like to see their real name on a record sometime. Because I was actually Ronnie Dio before we did this album, but then went to this one, I guess, as I say, for my folks. But that's not important. What the hell's a name, you know? It's a person that counts, not the name. I mean, you can call me number 1, number 2, number 3. It doesn't really matter, does it? This album was, you know, probably the most important one for me, happiest one for me. Because these are all the people you see on the back of this album are people I grew up with, you know. We're from a little, tiny little hometown, and we grew up with the same dream. It was the beginning for me. It was the band that led me to this point. It's the band that Ritchie Blackmore heard and, you know, loved when we played with them. And from this band, he asked me to, you know, to do the Rainbow thing with him. Actually, you know, from a couple of other albums you're going to show me, it came from that. But this is the one that was most important because it started it all.
Now we got second and third release from Health.
Oh, is this the good? Well, I never seen this one before.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Nice package.
Well, you know, again, these are. This is at a time when I decided I wasn't going to be the bass player anymore, which I was in this album. That one. And we replaced me with Craig Gruber, who went on to play with Gary Moore and a few other people. Was in Sabbath for about 10 minutes. And Mark Nassif, who was our percussionist, who went on to play with a lot of people, including again Gary Moore, with Jack Bruce. He's done a lot of things with Jack. So these two albums were, you know, these were the things that led to Rainbow, especially this album right here, Trying to Burn the Sun, which was the last one that we did with Elf, that led to more tours with Purple. Of course, these are all on Purple's label anyway. And from that point, then Richie asked me to do this, which was, you know, again, you know, if we go order, you know, albums that are important, it was obviously this one first, and you know, this one second. You know, the beginning of a career, and then the beginning of another career with Rainbow. This was a wonderful album. Lucky again because it had three of the people who were on the back of this album who played on this Rainbow album here, showing you how much I cared about them. I mean, this was a band that we were going to stay with come hell or high water. Those are the people I grew up with, and those are the people I want to play with. Well, at the end of the day, and rightfully so, we changed these people because they weren't fitting in with what we were doing with Rainbow. But again, the first album with Richie, and it was, you know, probably, again, one of the most important steps of my life because it gave me a chance to learn how Richie did things and how, so I learned how to do things and how not to do things. It was, you know, thanks to him, the beginning of my success, really.
Rising.
Well, Rising, the album that everybody always says, this is one of the great. It was okay. This is the best album to me. This is the best Rainbow album to me, not this one. This album is a bunch of self-indulgent shit on the second side, as far as I'm concerned. I think the first side is great. It's got real songs on it. The second one was, hey, let's play a drum solo for 18 minutes, and hey, Richie, you can play guitar too. Good for you. Next.
Got 2 live albums.
Well, the live albums were this one is another. This was the second one, and this was the record company's way of. Hey, we can make more money, can't we? So let's put that out. Thank you. Next. This is a great album. This is a real album, a real live album, the way it's supposed to be. When you make the album, you go into the studio and you mix it. You don't do it all over again. This was what you heard, was what you got. It was really important. This was not a money-making scheme. This was an album we were proud of because it showed how good the band was live. And we were a great band. It was a great band. Really, really great band. Again, this one, you know, somebody made money from this one, I assume. Made in Germany. I mean, don't even know what's inside of this one. I mean, did they even put a picture of me in it? Probably not. I got one picture. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I see Richie's in it, though. If I seem disappointed in this, it's because I've always been a person who believed in a band. I believe in all the people in the band. That you can't make this album only with that guy in the front. I didn't put this on the cover. This was on the cover of one album. This was on the cover. I didn't do that. Nothing up to me. If it were me, this wouldn't have been there. That would have been on the cover of this album. I mean, a band is a band. You're only as good as the people that you play with. That's why live albums and things like this really disappoint me a lot. It's for the sake of telling Richie that he's still got a career. But he'll have to prove that pretty soon.
That's Rainbow.
Very unhappy album. Very, very unhappy album. It was getting pretty close to the breakup of the band. We changed people anyway. We got Bob Daisley in the band now, which was great. But we had Mark Clark was in the band before that. He got aimed out very badly, I might add. This was another chance for Richie to, you know, kick people in the teeth, I guess.
And how did you end up being with Rainbow?
You mean at the very end of it all?
Yeah, how did the split come? The initial split of you and Richie?
I didn't want to make the kind of music he wanted to make. He wanted to be a pop star, and I don't write that way. I wanted to still have roots and intelligence, and he wanted songs about love affairs. You know, there you go, Richie. Have another love affair, mate. None of your marriages worked out. That's a great album. This is a wonderful album. This is a great album made by people who really liked each other at the time. I still like Billy a lot, and I don't